Okay, so the dual blades, very powerful weapon. It took me quite a while to make this guide. It finally is here. It had been requested quite a bit of times, but nevertheless, here we are. We are going to be looking at the combos, the best combinations that you have with this weapon. It has a very interesting combo combination. As a matter of fact, I didn't think that it was going to be my favorite because I was already married to the spear, but now after making this guide and learning all the little intricacies that the weapon has, I'm not entirely sure that much anymore. First and foremost, before we dive into the combos, let's just have in mind, let's remember that the weapons have scaling. The scaling is going to determine which stat are you going to be using for your build. This one, it has a willpower scaling on B, meaning that the stat that you're going to be using for damage, it's going to be willpower. And remember also that willpower can sometimes determine the playstyle that you are going to adopt, because it's going to give you extra little something in here. So for example, willpower, as you can see, every time that we level up into willpower, it's going to increase the stamina recovery rate. It's also going to increase the god stamina damage decrease. And this is very useful because the stamina recovery rate, it's a very versatile stat. It's a stat that it's going to help you either if you're like to block a little bit more, or if you dodge a little bit more. It doesn't matter because the stamina recovery rate, it's a little bit more general. However, the extra little thing that it's going to mandate to some extent the playstyle that you are going to have with this weapon is going to be the god stamina damage decrease. It's not necessarily that you need to focus in here on this little thing. It's just that you're wasting away this if you're not focusing yourself with a kind of parry playstyle with this weapon, or a block playstyle with this weapon, because yes, you are going to get god stamina damage decrease. On the other hand, like always, for example, the proficiency is going to increase the dodge stamina cost decrease, and this is for spears. So ideally, if you want to leverage the most out of these stats, not that it's the only thing that you have to do or like you must do, it's just that it's a synergy that it has with the weapon. Ideally, with the spear, you're going to be dodging more, and with the dual blades, you're going to be blocking more. That's next a little something that it's important to know. Before we continue, a little small tiny word from today's sponsors, Naxi, a rewards app where you can get cool rewards just by playing. You can earn gift cards that you can spend on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, because if you're gonna be playing something on your free time, might as well just get something out of it, right? Download on Android right now. You can find the links in the video description so you can start piling up those games. So now let's talk about the combos. The combos are very interesting with this weapon. It has so many combinations that you have in here. Very interesting. Some of them are not going to, well, they evolve as you play through the game. But let's take a look at the swift attack first. What you're going to need to do to make these combos that I'm going to show you right now, it's going to be the blazing assault, because this is going to allow you to use a fifth input of the X attack, meaning the light attack. And remember that you can only choose either Howling Blade or Whirlwind, and you can equip whichever one that you want to be using whenever you want to be using it. Just remember that it's not worth your while having points into a skill that you're not going to be using. Might as well, if you want to swap back and forth, you can always respec your points and change them like that. You don't always have to have them like that. Now, on the other hand, the Howling Blade has a whole bunch of different input for combos combinations. I'm going to have them for you right here, but also have in mind that for some of them, you are going to need the Howling Blade punishment, because this the Howling Blade on itself, it only allows you to have up to the third input. So it will be, for example, XXXY, and that's it. You'll see it in a little while, but that's all that you're going to be able to do. Once you upgrade this skill with the Howling Blade punishment, that is going to allow you to follow up with a Y after the final fourth and fifth X attacks. So that's going to furthermore enhance your combos. This also has iframes and perfect dodges if you input this correctly. So the inputs that you are going to have for the different types of combos that you have with this weapon are going to be just right here. This 3 guys that I have for you right here. And remember that these are interchangeable. You can mix and match them, stop them whenever you want to stop them if you feel that the enemy is being too punishing on you. The one that I'd say that it's the most important one, it's the final 4th input of the Y. So let's say X, 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 and then Y, because that's going to give you iframes, it's going to give you perfect dodge capacity, but it's also going to give you quite a bit of stagger damage. I do not, I'll be honest with you, I do not like it that much because it's very difficult to set up. So it's a little extra something that is always going to be there, but it's not necessarily something that you can manage that much, because at the end of the day, with a game that it's so precise with the enemy attacks, if you're going to be doing like perfect dodges, you won't be used them on the time, at the time of the input for the enemy that is attacking you. Not like trying to guess whenever you're going to be able to use it. This is a very, very versatile combo. Yes, of course it is, but it's also very dangerous. So I do not like it that much. Let's talk about the next one. The next one is going to be Whirlwind, and this is pretty straightforward. While with the previous combo you had to be like dabbling and babbling between X and Y and X, X, Y, or X, XY, 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 like there's a whole bunch of different combos, and then there's also the iframes. This is a little bit more straightforward. It's always going to be the same regular input that you're always going to have, and this is also, you don't have to upgrade this to use it as a finisher for either of the 5 inputs of the X. So yes, I have the longest combo in here for you, showcased in here, but you can interrupt it whenever you want to. So for example, it could be XXY, it could be XXXXY, it could be XY. You can use it whenever you want to, and the beauty of this thing is that it's going to deal damage, stagger potential, and also posture potential. Meaning that it's going to stun the enemy. If you feel that the enemy is going to retaliate to you, then you use the Whirlwind, you're going to stagger the enemy, you're also going to be dealing posture damage, but you're always going to be dealing quite a bit of damage as well. So this is very powerful, and it's a bit more manageable. It's easier to use, it's more useful, and it's more manageable than the combo that you would have with Howling Blade. And then we have the Potent Blow. We're not going to actually spend that much time in here because there's a little something that I already have as a strong preference, and like there's not that much to know about this thing right here. Basically, first you're going to be needing the Massive Blow, which is going to allow you to do a heavy attack, a Y attack, after a potent blow. This can be chained, like for example with a combo of Y, Y, Y. So the first Y, second Y, and then the third Y. This is going to be the third Y that is going to allow you to do so. On the other hand, you can also have the Dragon's Lair, which basically it changes your charge attack into a dash of attacks, and this is going to be one input that can be followed by the Massive Blow. So it could be a hold Y and then the Y. But also you can enhance this so that you can use the Y after the Dragon's Lair, so meaning that it could be hold Y, Y, Y. So it's simple as that. I do not want to take that much time showcasing this on screen because it really is not as good as the Gale. Oh boy, the Gale is going to be nuts. It's just amazing, dude. But this one, for it to work proper, you're going to have to combine it with a actual active skill, which is going to be Ruthless. So essentially, Ruthless is going to use all of your stamina, is going to stagger the enemy, and it's going to use all of your stamina for a flurry of attacks that you have right in here. So what's the synergy between these two guys that you have right here? It's very broken, it's very powerful, it's very flashy. I love it, dude. It's one of my favorite combinations. As a matter of fact, this is one of the reasons why I fell in love with this weapon. So Gale, what you do is that you change your heavy attack, your charge heavy attack, for this potent blow that inflicts a curse on the enemy. It inflicts the injured status on the enemy. Every time that you deal damage to a injured enemy, it's going to increase your damage up to 10 stackable times. So it's going to increase the damage that you deal with each attack. And also remember that if you combine this with Ruthless and a stamina heavy build, so you can, for example, be allocating stamina points into your gear so that you can use this at your leisure, means that you're going to be able to spam this thing right in here to increase the damage that you deal to use that flurry of attack, and then also gain that stack of damage. It's very powerful. But remember that that's going to require the usage of Spirit Bar. But Gale is also very useful when it comes to combining it with the different combos that I have already showcased to you, from the XY, XY, the X, XY, and all of the swift attack combos that I have already shown you. The final combo that I would like to showcase to you, the rest of everything that we have in here, it's not really that important. It's just like the dodge attack that you can have in here, that you can chain into the more complicated combos that I have already showcased to you. And then there's like the passives that you can have right in here, or the counter attack after a successful block. This is actually very powerful if you combine the blowback with the blowback vengeance, because remember that this is a weapon that it's going to deal a little bit more, it's going to sustain your guard damage a little bit more, so this is something very useful that you can use. But if on the other hand you actually want to start the kind of playstyle with the dodge, which is something that you can do, like I said, you have deftness, and this is one of the most interesting attacks and combos that I have seen here. It's somewhat of the previous combo that I have shown you already for the basic regular attacks, but this is a little bit more controllable, a little bit more manageable. So essentially you can have a combination of X and then A forward, and this is going to be able to be used throughout the whole course of your stamina. So this is not something that it ends. It's like an infinite combo so long as you have enough stamina. And this is very useful when fighting large packs of enemies, because while you do have somewhat of a iframes, it's difficult to control them, but you also have the movement of the character. So more often than not, if you're fighting against large packs of enemies, you can be dodging their attacks just by movement, not necessarily by iframes. But also, if you are a little bit more of an experienced player, you can use the combo and also use it to your advantage, and be using it to provide you with the perfect dodges that you can see right in here. So you're basically attacking while you have perfect dodges, but this is a little bit more tricky. This is a little bit more of a experience kind of playstyle, because then again you have to be precise and you have to delay them, and if you delay them too much, then you're probably not going to be able to continue the combo. So this is not something that you can abuse. This is something that you should be using whenever you have deep knowledge of the enemy that you're fighting against. Anyways, that's the guide of the dual blades. It's a very powerful weapon. I really enjoyed using it. I think that I'm going to be using it as a main. I'm still debating if I'm using it in, if I am going to be using this or the spear. Remember that when the game launches, we're going to have a little bit more deep detail guys about this. But yes, this is essentially the playstyle that you're going to have with this weapon if you want to marry with this weapon. If you like the content, like and never super appreciate it. Not only that you're a gorgeous beautiful person, you're indeed a gorgeous beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, join Discord. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.